Welcome to the real Ramblers movie talk for fanatics. The real Ramblers movie talk for fanatics. And now your hosts, Bill and Lee Howard.
Hello, and welcome to the Real Ramblers. I'm Bill. This is my brother Lee.
Hello, I'm Lee. This is my brother Bill.
And that almost sounded like the old Newhart thing. I'm Daryl. This is my brother.
Oh, yeah. My other brother Daryl.
Another thing that the young listeners won't know what the hell I'm talking
fucking love Newhart.
about. Maybe if they've seen Elf. But anyway,
It's Papa Elf, kids.
hope y'all are doing well. Today we're going to talk about an interesting topic. There's always much discussion on previous episodes of this podcast about remakes and such. And we thought, on the subject of remakes, what movies should be remade?
Oh,
I know. Edgy.
And people right now are 3 listeners. Because we have 3 at this
We're
point.
3 now.
They're like, no
We
movies.
we are doing awesome.
Yeah, we've tripled our viewership.
Yeah. So some of the movies, I jotted a few notes, and some of them have already been remade, and I think they still need to be remade again.
Oh, dang.
So the first one that came up is one that was remade recently, which is Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I read the book. I think I actually even did a book report on it.
Oh,
I
wow.
think. And the book is terrifying.
Huh, I've never read it.
Really, you should.
I got Spotify now. I can audiobooks.
Yeah, for sure. It's a really, really good book, and it is absolutely terrifying. I enjoy the Mary Lambert.
Yeah, Mary Lambert.
Right?
Yeah,
89, I think.
All the time crossing back and forth across that road.
It is great. Come on. There's a lot of great things to love in that version, but it's not scary.
No, it's got creepiness. Zelda.
It's got some creepy stuff. Zelda was creepy.
Yeah.
Gage near the end is creepy.
Yep.
What's his name that you just...
Ed Gwynn?
Ed Gwynn.
Yeah.
Ed Gwynn's tendon was creepy.
Yeah. And this, I always remember the story. It wasn't like the story that he told of the kid that when he was a kid, like some other kid got buried in the pet cemetery. And
yeah, I think so.
I feel like, and like that kid came back all fucked up and stuff like that. And I feel like I remember that kind of being like a little bit creepy. And it's like the dad burned the house down or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, totally scary book. And then they did the remake, which I was really psyched for.
Me too.
Because the trailers looked promising.
Yep.
And then it felt neutered beyond belief. It just felt so bland.
Didn't add anything.
And not one thing scary. I don't know how old my daughter was at the time, but we took her to see it. And when it was over, she was like, well, that was boring. And and I mean, she's got good horror taste.
Sure,
we were talking in another episode about introducing things to movies to people who haven't seen them. And for the most part, horror, we've been introducing Evie to horror. She's almost 16 now. But when she was much younger, I started, of course, showing her horror movies. And one of my fondest memories is her coming down late at night when she couldn't sleep and being like, hey, Dad, you want to watch a movie? And I'm like, sure. What do you want to watch? And she's like, The Shining.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, what? And I'm just like, oh,
this
beautiful dad moment.
This is the moment. This is the reason I became a dad.
And then, but it's running through my head that I'm like, she's going to find it boring as hell.
Right.
Because I'm like, she's a kid, she's a modern kid. And
I get that.
So we watch it and we're both completely silent through the whole movie. And when it was over, she's like, that was awesome.
How old was she at the time?
She loved it. I think it was maybe only a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So she was probably 13.
That's amazing,
14.
though. Holy shit.
She loved it.
She's the coolest kid, also.
She is the coolest kid.
You guys did an amazing job. She's much cooler than me, and I resent her a little bit for it anyway. She's an amazing artist, also.
Same. But yeah, so Pet Sematary, the remake, was very bland and neutered. And when I started thinking about this subject of movies that should be remade, I thought I would love to see somebody do a really fleshed out, really true to the book, really scary version of Pet Sematary, because it's such a good story.
They're doing a prequel movie right now, I think, right?
Are they really?
I think they're doing like a
Edward
prequel.
Furlong's going to be in it?
He's playing the cemetery. He's playing the cat.
No, but I don't know. Well, hopefully that's good. But but I'd like to see a really true to the book remake. That would be amazing.
Would that be something
I
think?
don't know what's going on with that Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot it's been
James
made
Wan
for a
produced.
while.
I've bothered my friend James Wan about it online, asking if he knows any details, and he sadly has not replied
He's
to
a
that
busy
query.
guy.
But I'm psyched for that. I remember asking James Wan online, I'm like, Barlow is the scariest vampire. Please don't make the new Barlow not scary.
Right.
And he messaged back or commented back and said, I completely agree with you. So
Dang.
that gave me hope. So I hope we someday get to see the Salem's Lot remake.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, Pet Sematary needs
That would be
some love.
Do you think that would work better as like a series instead of just a movie? Like, is there
Maybe.
enough content in the book?
I think
that
so. Yeah, for sure.
neat.
Even if you just did a limited series, 6 episodes or something,
that
I
could be
think
cool.
there's plenty of stuff in the book to cover that time. But yeah, that's the first one that I thought of just because they've already tried and failed.
Yeah. It's funny when people say, like, they shouldn't remake good movies. They should remake, like, bad movies and make them good. And it's like, I understand to a degree, but if there's a movie that comes out that people, like, hate and they try and, like, redo it, it's, you know, name recognition. People will be
It's
like,
got
oh,
a
they're doing
stigma.
another one. Yeah, it's got a stink on it.
Yeah,
So I understand for business reasons why they wouldn't do that.
I get it too.
I get that too a little bit.
Recently, I had high hopes for the still on Stephen King on the Children of the Corn remake.
I didn't see that.
It was garbage.
Ah, boo.
And I was, again, trailer looked cool.
Huh.
I love the story of Children of the Corn. I enjoy the 80s one, Linda Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
It's solid, but again, could be way scarier.
Right.
And I was hoping for that with the new one, but alas, it did not happen.
Boo earns.
Did you have something on your list?
Yeah, I got a couple. One of the ones it's an 80s classic, Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
Obviously not the Mike Doherty Halloween movie, which that's Trick or Treat.
The Sammy Kerr heavy metal.
Sammy Kerr.
Mark Price.
Yes, and I love that movie. It's
Ozzy Osbourne, Gene Simmons.
Yeah. It's like pure 80s cheese, but
It's a beautiful movie.
It's so great. The soundtrack is like totally dope. It's great, but it's funny when you kind of like look at it with current eyes.
Yeah.
And I would love a remake that is maybe a bit more almost like Sammy Kerr focused, kinda.
Yeah.
Because if you think
I agree.
about it, it's kind of funny because if you haven't seen the movie, because I don't even know if it's on or it's coming to Blu-ray or 4K.
It's coming to 4K and Blu-ray later this year.
Okay, great. So check it out when it comes out, especially if you love 80s horror. But there's like a famous heavy metal rock guy named Sammy Kerr, and he's like a very controversial, kind of like I guess how like when Marilyn Manson first came out, and people are like, he's devil
satanic,
worship. Satanic and stuff like that. And this is where it kind of gets silly to me, but great because it's ridiculous. He's banned from performing at his high school. He's like a huge rock star, and he's like, I want to play for high school. And they're like, no, man, like censorship. And he's all like, fuck your censors, blah, 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 because they're like, you have devil music. And it's also funny because if you listen to the soundtrack, the music that's supposed to be his music.
By Fastway.
Yeah, by Fastway. It's just like, hey, stand up for yourself.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's all really positive. It's like tear down the walls, man, tearing them down.
Yeah.
Like it's not like fucking kill your fucking mom and worship Satan. It's nothing like that. It's all just like kind of
That needs to be auto-tuned.
totally. Yep. Jay, please auto-tune that in post. Yeah. It's like the boys had enough, shit like that. So yeah, they're like, fuck you. You can't play at our high school. So this is spoilers, but who cares? The movie's a million years old.
Yeah.
He does, I guess, this satanic ritual and burns the hotel down that he's staying in and dies. And then this like nerdy picked on heavy metal kid
who is Skippy, the neighbor from Family
Ties. Yeah. He like fucking
Google
loves this singer. He's totally sad that he's dead.
Yeah.
Gene Simmons is the local radio DJ, and he's like, yo, I got his last record. And then it's like, you play the record backwards, and it's like the rock star is giving this kid like secret messages, which are basically, hey, I'll help you hurt your bullies for some reason.
Yeah,
for some reason.
It's strange.
And then somehow through that, Sammy comes back from the dead, even though he's been dead for a day, 2 days, if I'm being generous, to show up at the high school. And then
nothing can stop me from playing my high school.
And then he like electrocutes through his guitar and playing some like fucking badass rock and roll. Electrocutes like all the kids. It's like, these are the guys that wanted you at the. Why are you killing them?
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so it's silly in that like it really doesn't make sense, but it's a fucking great movie.
Yeah, it's super fun despite a terrible story.
Yeah. So I think that there's like a great opportunity that they could remake that and just like kind of beef up the story a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I would absolutely want them to set it in the '80s still.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because like just rock music now is not the same as rock music was, but really back then. And so yeah, I would love to have like an awesome cast.
And it's so
in
much
that.
better in horror to set things in the 80s where somebody can't just pick up a cell phone
100%.
and say help.
100%. Yeah. So that's my number one pick. Remake Trick or Treat.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Another one I had that's been remade, and I still fully believe that somebody could do a great job, is the Amityville Horror.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I love the 80s one. I have a soft spot for it, even though when you watch it now, it's not very good.
Yeah.
This could have been in the Bad Movies We Love episode.
Yeah, it's
Because it's pretty badly done and overacted, and Margot Kidder and James Brolin are pretty solid in it.
Yeah.
Even though James Brolin goes over the top a bit.
Yeah.
But I still love it mostly out of nostalgia.
Yeah.
But then they did the remake with Ryan Reynolds, which was okay.
I didn't mind that
enjoyed
one.
it.
Yeah. It was goofy to stick like that bad guy in at the end that they didn't need.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that they changed Jody the pig into a little girl. And I get why they did, because they were like, there's no way we're going to make a convincing scary pig.
Yeah.
So I get
totally could.
But again, this is one of those circumstances where the book is terrifying. I read this book for the first time when I was at a cottage in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the day. And I had to put the book down at a part because it scared me.
Wow, crazy.
That does not happen to me. So I would love to see somebody remake that into like a really good, solid haunted house movie that's actually terrifying.
I like that they teased it in one of the Conjuring movies.
Yeah, the opening of the...
2, I think?
Yeah, I think
it was the opening of 2.
I think 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. But I would love to see a really, really awesome. And it's such a... Even though there's been 7,274
literally so many. I think it's like
movies.
public domain or something like that, or something. I don't know.
I think it's just because you're allowed to use the name Amityville because it's just the name of a town.
Right.
There is no copyright on the name of the town.
Fair.
So that's why people can do it. But it's so bankable, even though all the movies suck.
Yeah.
That I don't know why a studio wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because horror fans would flock to it just because it's called Amityville.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
if it had like a good director and good cast and stuff in it.
If you took somebody took somebody again like Flanagan, who proved that he can do haunted house with
Hill House.
Hill House. Yeah, both of them, but especially Hill House.
Absolutely.
There's so many elements in that could translate to Amityville horror really, really well.
Yep.
And because it's such a well-known name, you could probably get some pretty solid stars in it.
Totally.
And stuff. So that's kind of my top one that I'd really love to see a remake of. There's others. The Mummy has been done a million times, but in way different incarnations of things. Like, I love the Brendan Fraser one. I think it's one of the closest Raiders of the Lost Ark clones to work. But again, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's the Mummy.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more authentic Egyptian stuff in it.
Yeah.
And more horror.
Yeah, that would be cool.
We've talked about the Tom Cruise one, that it's fun, but again, it's forgettable.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see a mummy movie.
And they always turn mummy movies into just adventure movies and action movies.
Yeah, and they never concentrate on the mummy.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to see more.
His name's in the title. Give him some fucking screen time.
Exactly. There's lots of great late 70s, early 80s horror that I love, that I think just because of the passage of time would be cool to remake. The Sentinel, Brian De Palma's The Fury, which is a awesome story about like telekinetic assassins.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's a great movie. And it doesn't need to be remade because the original's great, but it's just such a cool story.
Yeah.
It'd be neat to see what they could do with it now.
Especially if they do like a Dawn of the Dead, where just take some key elements and then craft a whole new story.
Yeah, I even think there's a movie from 82 called Brainstorm with Christopher Walken and Natalie Wood.
Oh, okay.
And at the time, it was supposed to be like very technological because it's about a helmet that you put it on and you can experience what somebody else experienced.
Okay.
Because it records what they experienced and you put it on and you feel it. And I'm like, just that concept. Because they develop it for entertainment and then they're like, well, what if somebody dies with it on?
Right. Oh, shit. Okay.
Then when you put it on, are you going to die? Or are you going to see what they saw when they died?
Huh.
And the concept of that is super cool. It could make a really neat movie.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Yeah.
Touching on Flanagan again, he a while ago tweeted when someone on Twitter said something about rebooting Nightmare on Elm Street, and he said, "Put me in, coach. I have a pitch." And I have not been able to stop thinking about that.
I know.
I can only imagine what a Mike Flanagan Nightmare on Elm Street movie would be.
I think he's one of the only directors in the history of film that has effectively captured dream logic.
Yes. Yeah.
The stuff he did in Dr. Sleep
Incredible.
was literally out of my dreams.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a dream.
I feel like the cast would be amazing. I just would love to see how he would interpret that story.
Too.
And I've always...
And it would be scary.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. It's I'd always thought the proper way to remake Elm Street is to like my ideas were for casting Freddy. My idea would be you can have flashbacks to when Freddy was alive. And I think casting like Richard Brake would be awesome as hell.
Richard Brake's great.
And then in the dream version of Freddy, cast Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Because Freddy doesn't have to just look like a dude with normal proportions. It's a nightmare. It can be anything. You know what I mean? And Doug Jones's physicality is so incredible, unlike anybody else's. If they could make him look terrifying, and I think the dream sequences should be terrifying.
Absolutely.
And I always reference that movie, The Cell, with Jennifer Lopez, like when they're inside the killer's head. Yeah. And it's just
that's another one that was good at dream logic.
Yeah. It's just so off-putting and chilling and uncomfortable. And I want the dream sequences to be that. Yeah. To be so fucking unsettling. And it's just like, I would love to see that.
I hope that happens because it would be amazing.
Yeah. Especially with like effects and stuff that they can do now. Yeah. It's like unlimited potential.
Yeah.
And I would love to see like a proper Elm Street.
I think another movie that this just occurred to me, another movie that I think was really good at capturing dream logic was Silent Hill.
Oh, right.
Silent Hill had some visuals that were like...
I was so-so on the movie, but it visually looked really awesome.
I liked the movie a lot more on repeat viewings.
Oh, nice.
It really grew on me, and I actually am really fond of it now.
Oh, cool.
But it had visuals that were like...
It was really, really
terrifying dream visuals.
I mean, the games are crazy looking, but yeah.
But that could be really good. And a couple other things I thought of were actually Disney movies from the 80s. Not kiddie Disney movies, but the Black Hole.
I thought about that too.
Black Hole would be great because the basic story of that is great, and especially since in the past 10 years we've actually come to know so much more about black holes.
Right.
That it would be really fascinating to do it almost like Nolan's Interstellar, like make it like a tech movie.
Yeah,
about
that would be neat.
This guy that's like a Colonel Kurtz living out in space on the edge of this black hole that they have to go and it could be really cool. Like it wouldn't be
the robot designs pretty similar though, because that would be iconic.
Vincent and old Bob,
yes,
and Maximilian.
Bob. Yeah, that robot scared me as a kid.
Totally, he was terrifying. Yeah, it was like a Terminator before.
Right, I barely remember the movie, but I just remember being scared by that fucking robot.
Yeah. The movie's super slow, but it's still cool. And the other Disney one that would be great is Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Oh, did they not remake that? I thought for some reason they remade that. I could be wrong.
They did. Huh. If they did, I don't know about it.
Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought for some reason I remember that they did.
And the original was, why do I want to say, Jonathan Price.
Jonathan Price.
Price.
I remember being creeped out by that guy as a kid
not
too.
only that movie had like one of the best posters of the 80s.
Yeah.
But
hand or something.
His hands were like this and had a circle and the kids running. It was a great poster. And the movie's great and very creepy, but loaded with potential for a remake that could be like pretty scary. And kind of along the lines, it could be something like an It.
Nice. Yeah.
Really have that retro like gang of kids trying to survive something horrible.
Right.
Yeah. Could be
that would be really
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
A couple things I thought of that like remakes, but also not really. Kind of again like the Suspiria type thing where it's their own thing.
Reimaginings?
But, yeah, I guess reimagining. I think they could probably do something really cool with a new Never-Ending Story.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have thought of that, but yeah.
Yeah, like that original's classic, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't want them to remake just that.
Yeah.
But it's the never-ending story, you know? You can keep telling stuff.
It's crazy that it ended.
They did make a second one.
I know, but then it ended.
Yeah.
So
I think that one was just called The Ending Story.
Yeah, like such false advertising. Yeah. I went to the theater and I'm like, 2 hours. Never ending ends in 2 hours.
I don't want to see no fucking credits. But it's like there's probably so much potential that they could really. Yeah, you can have some of the same characters, like Falcor and stuff like that, like things that are recognizable to that world.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so much potential to build on that.
Fantasy's good for that, right? Because there's like your limits are so there isn't any.
Yeah.
So you can go wherever you want with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be very cool.
Also, Clue, you could do the same thing.
That's weird. I've heard a lot of people say if you should remake anything, remake Clue.
Yeah.
It came up on a lot of lists.
Because you totally could. It's just as long as you have like a mansion or whatever
And a great cast.
and a great cast. I guess that would be kind of like not really like a Knives Out, but kind of in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be, but keep that same humor too. That because that was what really made that movie. That cast and that humor. That would be awesome. Like you could easily do a series of Clue movies.
I loved that. Around the era of Clue, there was a bunch of movies that had that kind of almost 1940s style.
Quick. Yeah.
Comedies like that Stallone movie Oscar.
Oh, shit.
Which everybody always trashes, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And they did another one around the same time called Blame It on the Bellboy.
Oh, Bronson Pinchot. Yeah.
And it was really funny.
Crazy.
And another one called Brain Donors with John Turturro. And,
I don't think I saw that, but I remember the movie.
And it's got one of the other guys is the guy who wrote and directed The Tall Guy.
Oh my God, right. Wasn't that a movie that you and Al used to like love?
Yes.
Yeah.
We came out of the theater. This guy, a friend of mine from back in the day, Al, we came out of that theater and sat in the car and we were laughing so hard the windows fogged. Because we were crying so much.
That's so
and like
funny.
breathing from the laughing so much. Literally fogged the windows. Just hilarious. But it was very in the vein of like Marx Brothers. Like really fast physical humor. Funny movie.
That's funny. Yeah, that would be awesome.
And John Turturro's a funny guy.
He is funny. One thing that's funny.
I just thought of one a minute ago.
Oh, dang.
Oh, I know what it is.
What?
I'm gonna
go
say
ahead,
it now.
go ahead, good.
I didn't write this down, but
then don't.
I would love to see a big screen new version of Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah.
But serious. I love the Costner one.
Rocket Robin Hood.
No.
Band brothers fighting together. Yeah.
That's it? Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't know the rest.
All right. Yeah, and after that they can do Hercules. I'm looking forward to a big screen version of like, I don't know, they'll hire somebody to be like, come on, Herc, come on, Herc. No, but Robin Hood I'd like to see like an Errol Flynn style, like back in the day, that's like a serious adventure movie.
Yeah.
More along the lines of like Tomb Raider and Uncharted.
Yeah.
But make it classic.
They just make one kind of recently?
There's been a few. There was one with Taron Egerton and Jamie Foxx, but it was very not Robin Hood.
I didn't like that. I only saw a bit of it. I think Jordan was watching some of it one day, and I was like, no, this isn't good.
They tried to put like that Knight's Tale modern flair into it. Right. And it just didn't work. But I'd love to see, because I love the story of Robin Hood. It's such a good story.
And again, it's got a lot of potential. It could be a series,
Yeah. It'd be nice to see it with like legit action scenes that are like huge and bows and arrows, and it'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's funny, one of the things I would have put on my list, but they have remade it. But there's been no word, and I've been going on Twitter every day. The Crow. I know they just made it.
Yeah.
It's in post-production now. Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah,
he's which is great. Barbarian
choice.
Was a great movie. I love Barbarian.
Yeah, Barbarian was amazing.
And I feel like, because they've been trying to remake The Crow since forever now. Yeah. And it's crazy to think of the names that like at one point, like Lee Evans was attached. And it's like, that's cool. At one point, Mark Wahlberg was attached. And I'm like, no. Hey, bro, why are you trying to hurt my bird? Why'd you gotta kill me and my girlfriend on Halloween, bro?
I love Mark Wahlberg in The Right Stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, he's good in good things, and he's Mark Wahlberg in other things. Yeah. Why you gotta look at me like that?
I'm totally going to fake a future episode and be like, Lee's sick, so we can't do this episode, but we do have Mark Wahlberg here.
Why you got to have me sign off in a different way every time, bro? So yeah, Bad Crow. But yeah, they've got all these different, Lee Pace, I think was, Luke Evans. That's who I was trying to say. Luke Evans,
right.
Lee Pace, they were all, whatever. So finally this one's happening. And at one point, obviously, Corin Hardy was making The Crow, and Jason Momoa was attached.
Right.
And at first I didn't think I would like that. That footage leaked.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, he looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know if I liked the Crow being like a huge jack guy, because he's just supposed to be like a dude. But I was like,
but some dudes are big jack guys.
I get that, but it's like his power doesn't come from his big muscles. But
it's just something you got. Like some guys are like me, and you just,
giant jack, big jacked.
None of you can see me, of course, because this is a podcast. But basically, envision
muscle
Jason
head.
Momoa, and that's basically me.
Yeah. You and Jason Momoa could be in the movie Twins together, and he would be Danny DeVito.
That's right.
They can sense you.
Yeah. Hey,
they can hear fantastic muscles across the microphones. But anyway, yeah. So I'm just hoping what they make out of, like, I was thinking if they're going to remake The Crow, set it in the 80s because the comic was in the 80s, because that would be great. Let the creator of The Crow, James O'Barr, pick the soundtrack, because that's more what influenced the comic over anything.
Kind of like, have you heard about this new Hellboy that's coming out? It's done filming and everything.
I don't know anything about it other than
apparently,
who's playing.
Is it James O'Barr? Is that the?
James O'Barr.
No, James O'Barr's The Crow. Who's the? Mike Mignola. Yeah. He apparently said that he loves this new one.
Wow.
I don't think it's a known guy playing Hellboy.
I've seen him before. Yeah, but I can't remember.
But it's not a big name.
No.
But apparently, this version is going to be like way more horror.
Great,
which is
I
cool.
love that last one.
No, I liked David Harbour. He did a good job, but the movie didn't work.
It just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I'm so interested in just what they're going to do, because I had heard scene descriptions of the Bill Skarsgård Crow. Yeah. Because it filmed in Prague. Yeah. And I was hoping it would be like closer to the comic.
It's pronounced Prague.
Prague, yeah. Prague.
Lee's so uneducated.
I'm a real dum-dum.
He doesn't know places in the world like Prague.
Is that close to Italy? So, like scenes that are like supposedly filmed in like a prison yard, and like bad guys kind of like in tracksuits, like a Russian mob kind of thing, which is like not anything from the comics, not even close. So I'm like, maybe that's a good thing, because it's maybe people are very stuck on don't remake The Crow. You're not going to find a fucking bigger Crow guy than me. And I am all for. Nothing will ever hurt Brandon's legacy. If the fucking Edward Furlong movie and the shitty TV show didn't hurt Brandon's memory, a new movie won't either.
I agree. But I would love to see the character back.
It's like, the Crow, the first one is Eric Draven. In the comic, he didn't have a last name, so maybe this new movie can just be Eric, and that's whatever. Right. But I want to see some more of the supernatural elements. That were in the comic and that were cut out of the first movie. Michael Berryman was in the first movie and got cut out. So I'm out of my mind excited, and I hope it's good, and I hope it's not shitty, because I would love a resurgence of The Crow. So
it's about time. It's been decades.
94 was the first one. So
come on. Well, folks, you can go on social media and let us know what you think should be remade. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject. But as for us, that's it for now. So thanks for tuning in. Keep tuning in. Lee's going to sign us off in his usual manner, because it's the same every time. Go ahead.
Real Ramblers, the choice of a new generation. Pepsi.
It's good. Every time you're like getting us in copyright problems.
They don't use that one anymore. I think it's up for grabs.
I think they're still gonna. What's next? Are you gonna moonwalk
on a podcast? That's great. I've been doing it the whole time.
He has. It's great,
and I'm good at it.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next time on Real Ramblers.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Real Ramblers. Follow us on Instagram at Real Ramblers. That's REEL Ramblers. And you can follow Lee at Lee Howard _art and Bill at JustTheBill1138.